1, you're rolling.
Hello and welcome back to the Jumpcast. Today we are on episode 30 of our little get together here, talking about specifically Jujutsu Kaisen and sometimes derailing into other manga / anime. I am one of your, let's say, contestants. I'm Max. We've got the other Max. Max, say hi.
Hi.
And then we've got Nick. Nick, say hi.
Hello.
Today, man, I should have already had this out and ready to go, but I didn't. We are going to be talking about the most recent chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, chapter 224, baby. This chapter was very. I'll be honest, it was exactly what I wanted, and it scratched my brain in all the right ways. Just the conversation at the beginning to the actual fight, man, that shit's going down, dog.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
That was a really good introduction. That actually brought me to one of the first things I wanted to point out, which is I love Sukuna's comeback and how he akins Gojo to just like a fish that he's chopping up. I love it so much.
I like because it's.
I love how hyped he is.
Well, it's like with him, like he's like, I'm gonna descale you, and like you're just a fish on the chopping block. It really is making me go back on that theory, like believing in it that Sukuna is like cleaving dismantles. Like his technique is chef themed.
Oh yeah.
It's really.
I forgot about that.
Really put me back on that train. I still love the idea more that he's taking techniques, but something where like the way he kind of talked and stuff. And I love the energy that Gojo brought at the end of last chapter. Sukuna's like dishing back immediately. Like I was like, okay, this fight could be pretty one-sided, but I'm like, this could be pretty even. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Like we're gonna get a really good.
You think
Hopefully,
it's going even.
I think it's gonna be pretty even. Like they're exchanging some pretty good blows with each other. So,
I would beg to differ personally. That Sukuna said that he could make up for that one finger difference. I don't know if he can. The man was getting thrown around this chapter.
Yeah, I think I'm also I gotta side with Nick. Sukuna was getting his shit rocked. Like it Gojo quite literally was just blocking his blows and then just time for a nappy and fell down and just went with his finger and he went into the wall. Like granted, Sukuna's not sustaining too much damage.
That's my
However,
point. He's like, other than the arm he regrew, it looks like he hasn't really sustained any damage.
Yeah.
Gojo, of course, hasn't sustained any. Like, there's nothing. That's why I'm hoping it'll be a pretty even, for the most part, fight, because then it'll be a really good fight if it's pretty even. Personal. At least that's my thought behind it.
That's true. Well, what is it? I think right now is like you're watching a guy try to get to the objective of trying to land a hit on him, which I think is what he's trying to do before any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to point out, I love what Gojo did on page 10 and 11. It reminded me of what Yuji was doing when Sukuna first left his body. He just threw that chunk of the bridge at him. Yeah, just throwing crap at him, and like he's trying to handle it. And what else? It makes me so happy seeing these two fight.
Because we've waited.
It's so fun.
We've waited almost over 4 years for this. So
yeah,
we've waited.
And like
yeah. You go, Nick.
Sorry, you. Oh,
no,
okay.
Sorry. I was just gonna
my
go.
Apologies.
Yeah, you're good.
There's a specific point that I want to give, and that's with when Sukuna does the dismantle, and of course it doesn't phase Gojo because he has the infinity. So instead of hitting him, it just goes right past him, which I think that's a really interesting way to imagine that. Of course, instead of like it reflecting or anything. The other part is that this kind of just leads on to the point of just like, currently it's just Sukuna trying to land a hit, because Gojo, like he was like, what? Why did he just say that? And then he looks behind him like, oh, he can cut shit. And then he still has enough reaction time to just turn his head back and catch the blow that Sukuna tried to hit, and then grab his hand. I love it.
When he also just straight up throws him into a building too, or I don't know if he throws him, but or they go in together. But my big thing was like the mentality going in this fight. Like Sukuna's like, dude, I can't be. He's like, I can't be called the challenger. But like we're getting, I feel like that moment of like Gojo Satoru is himself when he's by himself. Like he's this entire time. I think almost every panel I've seen of him, he has a grin or a smile or he's laughing. Like he's enjoying himself in this fight. And Sukuna, I think to an extent is, but like he's also kind of just like, I guess like what you said, Nick, he's just trying to land a hit.
Yeah. He's trying to make up for the hit that he had to take with the purple hollow.
Well, because there's also like on page 7, there's a one single panel of like him getting kicked, and he's got this look, like the panel above, he's smiling, and then under that he's like, ugh! like he's taking a hit, and he's like, what the fuck, like what am I doing?
Yeah.
But the dynamic that these two have is just, I don't know, it a good fight should feel like a dance, and this one feels like ballet.
Oh.
Yes, exactly.
The way
I love that idea with choreography.
Like the way it starts on page 2 with Sukuna's pose. Excuse me. It like his pose and then Gojo's pose. Like you can tell that they're ready, and it feels in sync. Like it feels like they're both in tuned to each other's movements. They're both in the flow state. There's no one who necessarily has the high ground. Now that I'm realizing that, I thought Gojo did, but looking back at the panels again, not really. Yeah, I mean, like you guys said, Sukuna. It's just now it's Sukuna's turn to try and land a hit. And I wonder if next chapter that's what's going to happen. It's possible that. I wonder how quickly Sukuna is going to whip out Malevolent Shrine, because I feel like that's going to be a big game changer in terms of how this fight plays out. I know that some people have talked about the domain battle between these two, but I haven't really looked into it. Have you guys heard about that?
I haven't heard too much about it, but I'm making a lot of assumptions with it, because the big thing is we don't know if Gojo has a barrierless domain. There's like a hint of it that he could have a barrierless one with his like 0.02 second one that he did in Shibuya, but like that's like the big difference is that like we know for a fact now that barrierless domains are stronger than regular ones.
Right.
Like with Yuki and Kenjaku. So it's just seeing how that plays out.
Man, I'm really wondering how that's gonna. I'm wondering how that plays out. I'm wondering what other things Sukuna has up his sleeves. What, like. Oh, sorry. Another thing that's interesting is that Gojo's just fine beating the shit out of Megumin. Like, and he justifies it with thinking he looks like Oh god.
Yeah, he's like, since they look alike. I love that line. I could totally wail on Megumin. Like,
yeah,
it's a really fun one to do.
What is it? The line, and I mean this in like a good way towards you, Pruden. When I read the line, "Too bad for you, I've undergone special training," it reminds me of you when you do like your generic anime guy impression.
Oh yeah, I've undergone special training.
Yeah, just
like,
stuff like that.
No, I get it. It totally is that generic.
Yeah,
but it's a fun line. I think it's a fun one. Because now we know Gojo did some shit, like he trained people. Now I want to know what training he went through. I want to know if it's a barrierless domain. I want to know if it's this other technique he has
me too.
that he's gonna bust out. Like, I would love to see a domain clash where like Gojo uses his domain and Sukuna uses his at the same time. Gojo's is barriered and Sukuna is just wailing on it with cleave and dismantles, and he can't get in, and Gojo is just the barrier's just slowly moving forward to Sukuna, and then connects with Sukuna. Sukuna takes a hit. It could not be a bad hit, whatever. I just want to see Sukuna, like, the infinite void of just, like, the just all the information in the universe just, like, getting shot into Sukuna's head.
I wonder if he'd be able to handle it.
Yeah, it made me think of, like, if Gojo trained himself to have a barrierless domain, would that just and I know that this is like cutting it really far, but like Gojo's whole domain is just like, oh yeah, so I pump all the knowledge of the universe inside your brain. Um, how far could he reach it out? Because he's also like he is like the honored one.
Mm.
Like how big could he make his domain? Could he accidentally engulf all of Japan? Like everyone's screwed. Everyone's thinking too much.
That's possible.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
there's a lot of ways it could go.
I'm also trying to see if there's because I'm wondering what Sukuna's mentality is right now. If he's just going with the, okay, I'm gonna try to get at him with the cleave and dismantle. That's the only thing that I'm going for. Or if he's gonna pull more from his bag of tricks, either from the black box, or if he's gonna go for the Megami techniques. Because he could also do that, and that is like a whole nother can of worms for Gojo to deal with. Like,
Right.
I want to
like
see.
we could see the whole like Six Eyes Maharaga thing happen.
That's the thing.
I would love to see during this fight, like Sukuna's getting like pounded, and he's like at one point he's not doing well or something, and he tries to pull the shit he pulled with Angel, where he acts like he's Sukuna, and it's like he like the tattoos go away for a second, and he's like, Gojo, don't attack me, it's me, and then Gojo just still goes ham. Like
Just
it's like a panel of him, like it's like Gojo,
Gone.
it's and it cuts off, and it's just Gojo's fist connecting with me, like with Sukuna's face. Like, be so like, because I want to see, Gojo is saying, hey, I can wail on Megami, but like he's like I can kill him, but I want to see if this is gonna cause like Megami to also die. He's like, I can kill you. He didn't say anything. I can kill you and Megami, or I can kill the body. I want to see if he's got the resolve to kill basically his adopted child, almost.
Right.
So
That's the thing too that I'm curious about. So I don't know if we discussed this already. We may have, and I just have completely forgot. But I'm curious on what exactly the limitations are when it comes to Sukuna being in different bodies, because it seems like chance that maybe Megami is also a vessel, like someone who's able to just ingest, who's able to have Sukuna in their body. Well, sorry, this has probably already been explained, because Sukuna has full control, and like a vessel would be able to fight back. I don't know. Sorry, I'm kind of just talking out of my ass here.
You're all good.
It's interesting to me, because I wonder if there's going to be some other kind of play here where, because Megami's already been like defeated mentally. I don't know. Like, what are the limitations with that? That's what I'm curious about. Is how is Megami's body gonna get beaten so badly that Sukuna is then gonna try and attempt to switch with someone else? I wonder, like maybe someone else, like Yuji's gonna try and come back. Yeah, like Yuji tries to come back and help Gojo, and then
Just
maybe
takes Kenjaku's body.
oh,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
would be pretty sweet. But
Or like Urame is like, please, Master Sukuna, I'll cover for you. And like, all right, bet. And then he takes off his pinky there. He's like, take it.
yeah.
That just reminded me of like the whole thing with like like some parts have been like, what's the name, retconned, like because we had that perspective like, oh yeah, Yuji's the only person that can take it and we don't know why, and then we thought, oh, it's because Kenjaku made like the perfect vessel for Sukuna. It's like, well, kind of not
He made the
really,
perfect
like
prison. Like kind of that. Is that what you're?
basically.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not going off of that, but like because we had like that whole concept of like, oh yeah, Yuji is like one of the few people that can actually take ingesting Sukuna's finger without like dying. Like it's the 1 in a million chance.
Hmm.
Um, but like we've now learned that it's just like, oh wait, no, technically anyone can reincarnate and like the vessel's fine, but like most of the time the vessel's spirit is like destroyed in the process.
Hmm.
Except for the case of like Megami, which is most likely just because he's strong-willed.
Right.
Like I think it's just dead that because he was so determined on saving his sister, and then it's like, oh nope, never mind, your sister's dead, and that's what got him to kind of like break.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what limitations there are. I think it would be really funny to get to a point that like Sukuna is actually like he has that Mahito moment where he's just like, uh-oh, 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 I need to run away, like the whole rabbit and the wolf situation, and then he's like
Yeah.
resorting to switching to different bodies numerous times
Hmm.
to see what he can do.
That may be actually a play for him, because then it's like, okay, well, how many people are you willing to kill who you're close to, before, like, maybe that's maybe what it ends up being, is that they're just so equally matched that it just comes down to a mental battle.
Yeah, that's my worry as well, is that Sukuna's gonna take advantage of that because like he could very well do that because that's what like Kenjaku did, is like he had to put in so many factors to impede Gojo from like going all out. Like he had to put in the civilians, he had to put in multiple curse spirits,
He
and he
put
had to
in
just like
3 or 4 special grade curses. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
to try to manage it, and then none of it worked out anyways. Well, like what is it? It did work out with trapping him, but like I'm just trying to see if Sukuna has like he's not an honorable dude. We can agree on that. But like I'm sure that he has this own pride in himself where he's just like, I'm gonna fight this guy and I'm gonna let him go all out. I'm not gonna try to get an advantage in a sneaky or shitty way. So if it does happen, I don't know. Maybe I'll be a little upset about it if he's just like, okay, I'm gonna rely on fucking with his emotional state in a different way. But we'll see.
Well, the fight also at the very start, I don't know if anyone else felt this way. It kind of gave off like, I guess I'm gonna compare it to like a Kurosawa samurai film, but just the start of like a stereotypical like samurai on samurai duel type
Yes,
deal,
yeah.
where they both kind of looks like they both spout something about their ideologies or whatever, but it's more them getting in the right mental state for the fight, because like with Bushido and stuff, the samurai were supposed to be like calm of mind, and that's why Miyamoto Musashi whatever was so successful. But it's kind of like, I feel like this fight is going to, everything would be cool if it kind of came down to not like a quick draw thing, but just one final blow from each of them. It could also be kind of stupid, I think also, but just like a moment of like both of them getting one final blow in, and it seems like one of them gets the upper hand, but neither of them did, and they both got a good fatal hit in or something like that. But I don't know. I'm just spitballing. That's kind of just the vibe it gave off to me when I read it this morning. I don't know if anyone else thought that way, but
I agree.
I personally, like, I guess I kind of know what you're talking about, but I've never seen those films personally. I can see where you talk about that. I'm also just kind of in the same boat with how Dries put it before. Like they're both in a flow state. They've
yeah.
both hit like this, like it's the like when they talk about it like in actual scientific terms, it's just like it's enough of a challenge that you're like excited to do it.
Mhm.
Like, but it's not too challenging that you're like that you get tired or bored of it. Like they're both so happy to be fighting in this moment.
Anytime
Right.
you guys have said flow, I just keep picturing, because like a big part of Blue Lock right now is flow, and I just keep picturing like that sports mentality flow, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
I
this
mean,
is
that
no,
is a good
no,
example.
but like no, I'm thinking of like in a sports thing, and I'm like, dude, Sukuna and Gojo aren't gonna go like play soccer or volleyball or something. What are you guys talking about? They're not gonna get in that flow. But no, comparing it to like the flow of like be like the zone as also like a good way.
Yeah.
Is a really good because I would love to see like I guess another way to describe it is I would love to see two apex predators that are gonna fight. It's like to me this is like if you took like I don't know a gorilla and a polar bear and you put them into like a fighting setting, two beings that would never probably interact, seeing how they would interact and fight. I think that's what we're getting. And I would really love to see that kind of just like Sukuna's gonna try shit from the Heian era that's not gonna work on Gojo. Gojo's gonna try modern stuff that's not gonna work. I would love to see that like almost like in Blue Lock throughout each match, the characters evolve as they call it. They devour each other type deal. Where I'd love to see Sukuna and Gojo, if they could. I mean, they're both like peak of their ability maybe, but them evolving during this fight would be really cool to see.
I'd love to see that too, because that's always just like kind of that's always the setting of Jujutsu Kaisen fight too, is that like they're bent on evolving. Like the two good examples that I can pull from is like Yuji versus Mahito at the end of Shibuya, and then like Maki versus Naoya.
Yep.
Like for both of the fights, like the first one is like when she awakened and evolved to like the ultimate heaven restriction, and then like the like being able to perceive I don't know, like spirit, or what is it, the soul.
Yeah.
Like Gege is really good at like showing progression in that sort of way. Like it's this like goes into like another thing with like how shonens are the traditional structures, like they have like a training arc to grow in that sort of way, while Gege and I don't know who the writer of Blue Lock is. I know that it's drawn by another person, but they both work on that mentality of just like they grow because of the things that they're doing currently, not just because they're training. I really like that aspect. I'd love to see that happen here. Like I'd love to see Gojo get hit with like the Malevolent Shrine and he doesn't have a barrierless domain, and then like he gets hit by it. It's like, oh, he somehow survives in that moment. He gets his whole like honored one moment, the same crap that he got from Toji.
I would love to
and,
see
like,
Gojo like snap like he did in the Toji fight. I would love to see like that.
Yeah.
The moment like it was so beautifully done by the voice actor in the trailer, like the moment where he's like laughing and stuff, like he sounds like a villain. Like that's one of my favorite aspects that's been of Jujutsu Kaisen that people always, I think there's been a lot of memes made about it, but like there's moments where like the main characters seem like villains. Like when Junpei dies, there's the moment of Yuji, like you see like his blacked out face and his eye. You know, when the first time we see Megumi use his domain, I know it's a big one, always people say with that, when he's like laughing, and then when Nobara gets like when they're fighting the other two brothers,
she stabbed herself with like, her nail and everything,
and she's like laughing and stuff. Like I would love to see that kind of like Gojo kind of got that, you know, when Hami died, but like I would love to see like that snapped villain looking Gojo go all out. Like I mean, he is going all out.
It's always like a mental awakening that gives them their like strong physical amps. So I want to see another example of that. Like Gojo gets hit by the domain, he somehow heals back from it, and he's like, all right, barrierless domain myself. We're gonna go back and forth. I'd love to see that dynamic.
Dude, there's so many cool ways this fight could go. Like it would be it'd just be so good to see how they're gonna do that, or how Gege is gonna do it, because from the first 2 chapters we've seen of this fight, I am all in. Like I wouldn't mind the next 10-20 chapters about this fight, honestly. Like I think this fight could go. Dude, I don't want it to be long like in the anime, but like I think manga wise, I would keep coming back to this to this fight weekly for a while. It would get stale, but like it could get stale, but I would.
The only thing is that I want to just see what everyone else is doing still. Like, this fight is cool, but I want to see what
Well,
everyone else's plan is right now.
I should say
'Cause-
I would love for this fight to keep going for the next year. But I'd love
Oh,
like
yes.
I'd love
I
what
would
I'd
agree
love
with that too.
I'd love to see his fight go for next year, but not every week is this fight. I should have clarified what I meant. Like
Yeah.
I want to see little snippets. Like I would love
I think
to see
that'd
one.
be a good way to do like the last war arc,
Mhm.
like the final arc. Like, it's better than what we're getting with My Hero.
Yeah.
It's the best way to put it.
Like I want to see Yuji and Kashimo like hiding somewhere, and they're just seeing like mayhem, and they're like, "Bro, what? Like, what's going? Like Yuji,
what?
like Yuji's like with Kashimo, because they're gonna do something. They have a backup plan in case Gojo gets in trouble, and they're like, and Yuji like looks at Kashimo, and he's like, "Hey, dude, you still want to do this?" And Kashimo's just deadpan, like, yeah, like, are you kidding me? This is what I've been waiting for. Like,
You got reincarnated for this shit, dude.
yeah,
Are
like
you
this is
kidding
what
me?
I've been like. I've been waiting thousands of years for this, and I'm like, because I want to see that mentality. I want to see Kashimo come in and do something like, I want to see I want to see the trio of Hakari, Maki, and Yuta all go against Kenjaku. I really want to see that fight too. Would be really fun. I just want to see like Nick, you said, like I just want to see everyone else do something during this last kind of downpour of content for JJK. But
This reminded me of like a thing that I was thinking about before this chapter came out. Like, so last chapter when we got like that 200% hollow purple, I think that's I'm gonna be comparing this again to My Hero, and also I should say like My Hero is still a good series. It's just having a really slow final arc, and I'm sure that's gonna get fixed up in like it's in the anime adaptation. But they keep on doing this thing where they have to involve every character from the series into this final arc to give them like their last hurrah, even though that some of them weren't really needed. Like La Brava and like the one dude, like the love quirk, like it's like they were in a chapter like I think 2 or 3 months ago, and like it was cool, but it was unnecessary. I think that again, Gege is really being masterful when it comes to his implementation of characters throughout the series, like Urahime and Gakuganji. Like, these were people that we didn't care about for the past 2 years, and I remember always thinking like, I do not care about these people. Their involvement is so useless. But Gege twisted it to make their involvement seem a lot more impactful and something that I liked seeing. So yeah, I think that that's just a way better implementation for like a final arc of just like everyone's here than like how My Hero is doing that.
Yeah. Gege
Yeah.
Gege is really good at making the characters of Jujutsu Kaisen feel like every single one of them truly is important to the story. They don't feel like throwaways, they don't feel like distractions, they don't feel like I'm tired of drawing this particular part of the story, so I'm gonna do this tangential thing. No, they're all important to the overall arc of the entire story. Like, key parts, like without Maki going and just eviscerating her family, that family could have played a huge part in how things are going down right now. Like the higher ups in general Jujutsu society, like they are important people, and since they've been eliminated, like the playing ground is different now. It's different because of the decisions that each character has made, and I think that's like a really big difference with Jujutsu Kaisen. Is that, like, I'm repeating myself at this point. The characters are just important, you know. They
Yeah.
mean something. Damn it.
Yeah. So I agree with that fully. Like, what is it? And it also just goes with how Gege has set up the story and everything. Like, even specifically with Yuji's character arc, which is like human lives are important. Their deaths actually mean something. in the series, and like them being alive means something in the series as well.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, you put that really, you put that very well, Dreves.
Thank
I
you.
don't know if I could top that. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, man, that's something that really bothers me about a lot of the, like, even the stories that I write. Like recently, I'm trying to learn how to write, how to actually properly create characters and make a decent story. And one of the things that I always come running into is like, well, nihilism always hangs over a writer's head because it doesn't, you have to give meaning to characters that wouldn't exist without your mind. And that's really frustrating because you have to be able to see the world from 1,000 different perspectives. And Gege is just able to do that. And it's jaw-dropping for me because when I was younger, consuming all this media, like all the good media that I love today, I would always sit there and be like, "Wow, that was fantastic. Okay, now I'm gonna play with Legos or something." And it would it would leave that mark, but I would never really think about it more. But now that I actually am coming to understand how the process functions, it's it's genuinely mind-blowing how well done this is. And it makes perfect sense to me why this is just absolutely one of the best manga coming out today, if not, I don't know, someone's gonna scream at me for this, if not like all time. It's because
I
I'll
agree with that fully.
man, I get bored sometimes and I'll scroll through Shonen Jump and I'm like, oh, that's a cool looking panel thing, advertisement. Do retry. Let me see if that's good. I read the first 2 pages and I sit there in pain because it's the same thing. It's nothing unique. It's nothing interesting. But then there's stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen, like Sakamoto Days, like fucking Blue Lock, where it's taking these tropes of the genre and then making it so that it's this has all just been boiling in my mind. Um, Gege is able to take the genre and the tropes of the genre and turn it into a dynamic story through the characters, like these consistent caricatures that we see in shonen. Gege is able to take that and then just completely shift it so that it's something new and unique. It's like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are the same game, like objectively. It's the same
Yeah.
structure, it's the same map, literally. But Nintendo was able to take that, take what they've already made, and then do the exact same thing again, but do it so differently that it feels good. Like it feels engaging and fantastic, and that's what Jujutsu Kaisen is doing. It's this like this turning on its head that I can't figure out how to do, and it frustrates me so much because it like I want to make cool shit like this, but oh man, at least we get to consume it, you know.
Yeah. That, again, very good take. I couldn't agree more with that. It's really, I don't know. It's always those like 1 in 100 writers that just knows how to make it. Like, I don't know, you would describe that so perfectly with just like using the Shonen Jump app and just like, oh man, I'll try to read a new series, and then you read it and you're like, oh, okay, this is not fun. This is not
Mhm.
entertaining. But then, of course, like as you said, like a good example as well as like Sakamoto Days, like it takes that trope so differently and spins it around and it makes it fun.
Mhm.
So
That's
yeah.
something that I think is really important too. Is the fiction that has to be created is it one has to be meaningful and impactful, but two, it has to be fun. That's something that I consistently forget when I'm writing, and that's something that Gege never forgets, especially with this chapter. This chapter's fun. We get to see two just super powered, fucking absolutely insane people go hand to hand, and they're just throwing themselves around. It's insane, and it's so much fun, and I want to keep reading it. Oh man. So, mostly overall, I'm just so happy with this chapter. It's the series is going in a way that consistently subverts expectation, keeps me engaged with the story, and man, I love this series.
Me too.
Anyway, sorry, I kind of.
No, that was a great tangent. I love that whole thing. No, it was great. That was a really fun tangent.
Thanks. Anyway, do you guys have any other thoughts? I'm pretty much good.
No, I was gonna say I love your take on that, like JJK and a lot of like the newer shonen that like a lot of series that do pick up is because they are in some aspects a cookie cutter shonen, but there's differences. Like JJK, you know, the people die and stay dead. Like people aren't coming back. Blue Lock is always going to be one of
talking about Nobara.
Yeah. Exactly.
Nobara's gone.
But like Blue Lock I think is such a good example for like the sports kind of genre, because like Haikyuu, Slam Dunk, everything is kind of just work as a team, work together, and you will win. And Blue Lock is no, part of my language, go fuck yourself.
Ego.
I'm gonna do, you're an egoist. Fuck you. Yep. I'm gonna do this all by myself. Like, there's a moment that's going on with Isagi and his team where there's basically on his team 3 factions fighting, and they will try and rip the ball away from each other to score their own goal. And it's such a cool idea because there are moments like JJK always has these like almost a nostalgia feeling from my rereads of it after, and then I read Bleach. But there's these moments where I'm like, oh, that feels like Bleach. Like, honestly, and there's some aspects also of like 2 powerhouses that are gonna go ham. Max, I know you've read Bleach. This almost could feel like the final Getsuga Tensho fight, in a sense.
Yes,
like,
yes, so much so.
Yeah, like, dude, the fucking moment at the end, I've been waiting to talk about it, of cool guys don't look at explosions, like they're walking away from a crumbling building, is so badass.
I love it so much.
Like, it's
so good.
Like, so far, this is giving me, Max, the moment of when Yamamoto and Aizen fight.
Yes!
Like, that's what this is, and then Yuji's gonna come. Like, I don't want Cookie Cutter, it's gonna follow, not exactly, but I don't want it to follow the same pattern, but it'd be so cool for this is, like, Gojo doesn't get, like, his shit milli rocked, but, like, he comes in and he has to take a step out, and then that's where, like, I don't know if Kashimo, I'm still holding out hope that Kashimo and Yuji are somewhat working together and hiding and waiting for the perfect moment, and this is their moment. It's gonna be like when, I don't know, like Keisuke and Yoririchi come out and fight Aizen for a second, or when Ichigo's dad. Like, I want something like that where like Sukuna has everyone but Gojo. He has manhandled almost everyone in the series he's gone against. And I don't want that My Hero thing where everyone's going to have their moment against Sukuna. But I would love to see everyone try and help. I would love to see this, like, unstoppable force. Everyone needs to come together to fight. But I don't think, like with My Hero, I don't think the way My Hero's doing is the way to do it for JJK. I think maybe everyone has their own fights against, like, you know, we have
yeah, I think that's the way
we have 3 people for them to go after. We have Sukuna, Kenjaku, and Urarame, or whatever their name is. You have 3 targets they can go after, and you kind of have Sukuna's already handled. Kenjaku, in my opinion, is already handled by the new trio. I would love to see Urame and Maki have a rematch, though. Like, them actually fight. But, like, I think that would be a fun fight for maybe if Toto would come back. That would be a fun one for him to come back on. Or this would be, like, for any other character, like, oh my god, I want to see Higuruma come back, is basically what I'm getting to. I'm just going to cut to my point. I want to see Higuruma come back and have his moment. Like, I want to see him have more of a moment, because he was such a cool character.
His curse technique is so interesting.
Like, that's also my thing with JJK is these characters that have one singular fight and are in one mini arc, like an arc within an arc, leave such an impact in your head. Like, Higuruma, I know, Nick, for you it's Kashimo. Like, I mean, Kashimo and Toji. Like, Toji does come back for Shibuya, but like, if Toji never came
to stay in that.
Yeah, if he never came back, he would still have that big of an impact that he had on like the narrative of the story. Like this insane dude that could kill sorcerers. He didn't have his own technique. He would still have the same impact, but like something like that. I love that idea with JJK that they've gone forward with. I know I was just waiting for Max to finish his thing, and then I'm like, I gotta go on mine for a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
But no, JJK is amazing. Go read Blue Lock, also what I'm getting at. Like, that shit is fucking peak. Like,
You reminded me of something that I also wanted to go on with that.
Do you want to go for it?
Which is, like, what is it? So, and this ties back to, like, a lot of the other stuff that we're talking about, but you talked about it before with, like, Blue Lock, and a good example with this as well with JJK is this sort of, the philosophy of, like, individualism. Like, with Blue Lock, you have, like, the egoists, like, they set up this, like, within, like, I have only seen the anime, I haven't read the manga, but, like, in that first episode, the dude on the screen, he's talking about, like, the thing that makes these teams great is because there's one person that doesn't give a shit about anyone else, and he only cares about himself. He has his own ego, and he tries to strive for his own stuff. And JJK plays at that as well so much. Like the narrator even said, well, not the narrator, is Kenjaku, but he was like, Gojo is his best when he's by himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's his peak performance. And I love that, modern day shonen is trying to teach that aspect of, like, for the past, like, 10 or 15 years, we've had that trope with shonen where it's just like the power at the end of the day was friendship, was being with everyone. Like, you see that example with My Hero, even for it being a new gen. Like, we had that whole Dark Deku arc. He was on his own. He was doing great as well, but he had to be brought back to his friends in order to, like, fulfill his sort of character arc of just, like, he needed his friends so that he was stronger. I love that with Shonen Jump and these, like, stories that are built for younger people, it's teaching them, like, hey, you do very good by yourself and have confidence in yourself. I love that these, like, writers are building these stories
work with people
teach young people.
Is what I'm loving. Like JJK is a good example.
Yeah.
Like the duo fights when Yuji, like, Max, forever ago, me and Nick had called Yuji a weapon. Like, how Maki and Toto have used him in fights. Like, you can still go ham, be your own person by yourself, but, like, don't push people away. And that's kind of like what I like about these two, like, opposing forces of like the two big series where I'm reading of Blue Lock and JJK, where JJK, they're like, go do your own thing, but don't push away people. Blue Lock, they're like, fuck everyone else, use everyone around you however you can. Like, it's two opposing mentalities that are going to be very cool. And I mean, there are characters within JJK that, like, are kind of that egoist mentality. Like, Sukuna is totally one. Gojo is somewhat of one, but he still is willing to work with other people. Like we talked about, I want this to be I'd love this fight to turn into a mentality battle, like a philosophy battle or something. Like, they're still fighting, but it's more to see which side, not which side's better, but I don't know. That's a half-baked take. I don't know how to go forward with it.
I personally think even then, the egoist is still in Jujutsu Kaisen. Of course, there is, like, aspects of, like, working with other people, but I think still at the very end of the day, it's saying, like, you do good by yourself and have confidence in yourself. Like, another one was, like, with Megami, when he first pulled out his domain. It was just like, you are mentally nerfing yourself by thinking that you need to work with other people in certain circumstances. Like, give up on that. Like, focus on being yourself, and you're gonna win at the end of the day. I like that I like that writers are teaching that for younger people because Shonen Jump is like catered to like 13 to like what is it, 17-year-olds, which is a very big time to like
Impressionable
learn.
audience, like
Yeah, impressionable. That's the best way to put it. So I love that they're trying to teach that angle that you can do great by yourself. I think that it's a really good idea, and it's really good to teach the youth that.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I think the way JJK originally, in my opinion, the way that drew me to that kind of thinking was of like the Gojo said it, of like you're gonna die alone. Like when you die, you're gonna be alone. So you might as well go ham by yourself, type deal.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see how these series, like any series in general has impression, like the impression it leaves on someone. Because for someone like us three, JJK could be completely different from someone in our audience. They could like, and that's what I love about these series is, there's with modern shonen, I feel like there's something for everyone in it now. Almost,
I agree.
kind of like there's like you can like there's something like JJK. Yeah, it's battle shonen, but there's something for every type of fan in here. There's moments where everyone's gonna like it. Everyone's gonna be. I'd hope everyone is drawn to a character they like, and yeah. I know. I'm just figuring out how I can. I'm trying to avoid just
No,
bringing
it's
up.
all good.
No, I was gonna go on a rant about Vinland Saga, and then I'm like, no, not today. I can't do that today.
I think even though that it's labeled Shonen Jump and like Shonen is a demographic towards like guys or like boys specifically, I like that they definitely are trying to break out of that convention. This is like going on Shonen Jump in general. This isn't even just like JJK, but like Blue Box, the romance series. Like it's still definitely catered towards guys because the main character is a guy,
And
but
it's
like
sports,
it's a romance series.
It's still catered towards like a sports fandom, but there's still gonna be moments like there's like the rom-com and romance aspects and slice of life stuff is
It's something that
to,
anyone can read. It's not just like catered towards guys now,
which I love is
which I really like.
there's shoujo. And like when anime and manga was first big and like first became there were shonen for guys and shoujo for girls, and I love that this line between it has been like blurred. There's like oh, a guy can go read whatever, but like they kind of mesh together. Like there are like those romance-esque and moments in a lot of shonen now, which isn't like the big. I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this take. I'm just gonna shut up. Never mind.
No, I mean I agree.
It's good.
But
We're
there's
kind
gonna
of getting that breaking down already.
Yeah, there is that kind of like we said, there's something for everyone in everything, and that's like something Max had talked about earlier of like wanting to go read other stuff on the Shonen Jump category. Like you're paying for it, you might as well. Like there's moments where it's like this is really hard to read. Like there's moments where I'm like, there's so much on Shonen Jump I want to read, and I'm like, well, I see why like a few hundred manga series fail each year. Like, damn, this is ass. Like, it's in my opinion. But like just like the category, like there is so much new stuff on Shonen Jump. It's not just fantasy battle stuff anymore. Like I'm just going through the stuff like I've read on it, like just glancing over it, and I'm like, there's so much cool stuff.
Yeah, it's real impactful stories that have true meaning behind them. And I'm going to go back to a point that Nick, you had talked about a few episodes ago. The concept of imbuing philosophy into story. All of the good manga on Shonen Jump and just anime in general have some level of understanding philosophy and the meaning of life. That is how an impactful story happens, is understanding that we are not inherently given meaning when we come into this world, but we make it through our actions, and that's something that JJK does extremely well.
Couldn't agree more. I love philosophy, and I love seeing it be implemented into stories, and that was another reason why I love the individualist aspects, because that is like a form of philosophy that they're trying to teach kids, and I love that sort of impression that they're trying to set. It's like you do you. It even revolves back to like you give yourself your own meaning in life. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
This is a big ass tangent. This is what we get for not having too much dialogue in the chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just go on tangents.
Yeah, but no, I think that's perfect. I think I've kind of wrapped up all my thoughts of the tangent and the series. I don't know about you guys, about
I'm
general?
golden.
Okay, I think this is
I'm
this
great.
perfect point to end. Perfect point to end.
Wait,
off
there
this
actually
week.
is one last thing, which is we talked about it a little bit briefly. I always ask this question: what do we want to see in the next chapter? Also, should we talk about how there's going to be a break next week? Because we're getting
right.
2 weeks. We're gonna have a
Right.
break next week. There's no JJK. Devastating.
Oh,
We will have
I
something.
know.
We won't take a break
We're
like
gonna
last
do
time.
the idea. We're gonna do the idea that I initially. We haven't talked about it yet on here, but we'll do it. We're gonna do the little book club.
We'll still have an episode up.
Mhm.
But we hope you will still tune in for that. Next week, I mean, just what I said. I want to see just this fight go ham. I want to see a cut. I like you said, Nick. I want to see a cutaway of other characters and what they're doing right now. I'd love to just even if it's just straight up them sitting on chairs eating popcorn watching this fight happen. I would love to see that.
I would love that.
Like I just want to see like the redone the panel of Shoko wearing sunglasses when they bring Gojo back. I just want to see something like that again. Of them just like, yeah, he's got this shit. Like, he's got it. Like, type.
Let
but
him cook.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, dude. How about you guys?
I'm in the same boat. I just want to see a cutaway.
I think we all agree on that then, because I also want to see a cutaway and just see what else is going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, or we could just not get that, and this fight's gonna go crazy next chapter, and I won't complain. I think that it's gonna go down a good angle no matter what.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to episode 30 of the Jumpcast. We appreciate everyone listening and giving us the support. As always, if you have any thoughts you want to add to anything we said or anything you think we messed up on, feel free to tweet at us at the Jumpcast. I don't know the exact name of our Twitter, or in the comment below. Yeah. Next week we will make a tweet, probably on like a Friday or something. I'm not exactly sure on what the plan is of what we're going to be doing, but yeah. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good week, anyone in the U.S. As of recording, tomorrow is going to be Memorial Day, so have a good Memorial Day. Go shoot off some fireworks or something, I don't know.
Yeah, have fun.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.